Welcome to another day in the life of I don't even know what to call it, Anna. This is so informal, but I did wanted to record this podcast because a lot has been going on, and I just really want to share with the world when I met you and how we met and just how much you've changed my life. So sorry it's not such a formal introduction.
No, it's good.
But I am not a podcaster. We're just doing this like if we're just chit-chatting over the phone or in person. Kind of like what we did the first time we met. So you guys, I want you to meet my new friend. Yes, she's my friend. We established that since the beginning. We're friends now. But I just want to talk a little bit about how I met you and just how, like, what I was going through in my life and what I asked for.
Mm-hmm.
So last year, I started following you, and you just came up on my For You page, really randomly. I loved your content. Right away, I went to your store, and I purchased your workbook. I was really excited about that. I was going through, like, a really hard time in my life. And obviously, when you meet someone on TikTok, you have to stalk them a little. So I went and I'm like searching
binge
for all.
Watching.
Yes, I was like binge watching all of your stories and all of your content, and I loved it and I connected so much. But I had to deactivate my account.
Okay.
And when I reactivated at the beginning of the year, I couldn't for the life of me find you.
Really?
I couldn't. And I was like, come on, For You page, do your thing. Do your thing. And like, bring me to her. Or take me to her. And you popped up. I'm seriously thinking that these iPhones, they have like a tracking device or something that find people that you're like secretly looking for in your mind. So I saw your content and I was super happy. And you were like the first page that I followed on my brand new page. And I decided to send you a DM.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I was like, hey, I want to meet up. What did you think?
Was it through Instagram or
It was through Instagram.
It was,
yeah.
I was open to it.
You were?
Yeah.
You didn't think, oh my gosh, she's a stalker.
No, not at all. Because no, not at all.
No?
When I got your message, I'm like, yeah, I'm down. I think that's what I told you. No, I think like,
Yeah.
yeah. But when should
You
we
were
meet
super
up?
sweet. You're super sweet.
Yeah.
And you have a lot of followers on TikTok. Like how much? How many?
Right now, I have 138.
138. See, and I didn't think you were going to respond because I'm like, she's hella famous. She's not going to respond. She's going to be like, oh my God, claro que no. And I think I saw in one of your stories that you lived in Vegas.
Uh-huh.
So I was like, oh my God, a breath of fresh air. Because I was about to leave. I was like, I don't want to stay in Vegas. But when I was going through that situation, I did pray and I did ask, like, if I'm meant to stay, if there's medicine for me in Vegas, like, take me to the right people. And then you popped up and you were super open and you're like, sure, like, where would you like to go? And I'm like, I don't know, because I've never been out. And I'm so happy that you suggested a place. How did you pick it? How did you?
I follow a lot of places.
Okay.
I follow a lot of accounts that come up with like places to go visit to, and I thought that was gonna be a good place because we were going to happy hour. It's gonna be intimate, but not too intimate. Because also like you don't know the vibe of the other person.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like just somewhere where we can go quick, like at the first date, and see how things go, and then we'll see if we meet up again.
Okay. Now that you brought it up, I did really think that we were not gonna meet up again. I did. I really did think so. I was super excited. I got off of work early that day because I really wanted to meet you. And I don't know because I mean, obviously I'm married, so I don't go on dates anymore. And I don't know if this is a thing on when you date, right? But I was super nervous and I was like rehearsing how I wanted to act and what I wanted to dress, and like how I wanted to look. Because I look up to you a lot. I do. I still do. And I thought at that moment, I'm like, I'm going to meet this amazing woman. She has her life all put together. I need to come with my A game because I was determined to be your friend, to build a friendship with you. And I've mentioned it before on my social media platform. Like, I haven't been a good friend. And I don't really know if I know how to be a good friend. So I came openly and vulnerably with you, and I was like, I really want a friendship. Like this is my expectations. This is what I want. What did you think of it? Did you think I was too forceful?
No, I didn't. Look, I always feel like people connect for a specific reason, right? I always feel like there's a higher reason behind the things that we do. So at that time when you reached out to me DM, I was also open to receiving new friendships.
Okay, awesome.
Right?
Okay.
So it all happened both sides.
Yeah.
So I had friends here that had left back to LA.
Okay.
So I was like, okay, it's a new chapter. You came up. Oh, then we met up, and I was also excited. So we met up, and we started the conversation. And what I liked was that you were really real from the beginning. Like you were not putting up a front.
I think I told you my life. Like
you told me a lot of things.
Yeah.
You told me a lot of things, and then I have this like gift, but also sometimes not a gift of like understanding and giving different perspectives. Like yes, you're telling me one problem and you're telling me what you're going through, but I see it differently. And I give you that like perspective. But I feel like I just like to plant the seeds, but not give you like the belief. Yes. Like this is something that you should think about, consider it, and see how it applies to you.
And that's so crazy that you say that, because I do the same with my clients, and I had not found a friend that was able to do that for me. And the fact that you were so like, hey, like, have you thought about this? And I was like, I have not, but thank you. And you weren't forceful. You were super nice about it. And I was not going with the intention of telling you my life. I was not.
What was the intention?
It was just like, I wanted you to meet me, and I want to meet you, and I wanted to see if we vibed, and see if we were going to go on a second friendship date. But you just gave me the vibe like I wanted to tell you. And then again, I had not talked to anyone that was outside of my circle that had a higher perspective or like a higher consciousness that I could relate to. And I think that when you started sharing and I started sharing, we had a lot of things in common. And that made me want to share. And I was going through like a difficult time, and you just gave me a different perspective. You're like, what about this? And I didn't take it offense at all. I was just like, oh my God, you're absolutely right.
And it's crazy because I didn't know your boundaries, obviously. And there's people that when you give them this type of like insight, they feel like you're intruding. So some people just want to vent. And I didn't know if you were trying to vent or not. And usually I don't care if you were trying to vent. Like I'll give the insight. It's a gift. If they don't see the value in it, well, that's their loss.
Yeah,
right?
for sure.
I chose to invest the time in you, and my time and energy.
It's valuable.
Yeah. So hopefully you receive it, and if you don't, well, then we move on.
Yeah. And I love the fact that you're like, this is a gift, and I'm gifting it to you whether or not you're ready for it. And that's your loss, right? Like if you didn't take it as a gift, and sad for you, but kudos for me because I did take it. Because I was like, no, I wasn't venting. I wanted help. I really did. I just didn't know how to ask for it. Yeah. And so at that moment, I didn't want to seem like I was venting and just like throwing my garbage at you and like, this is what I'm living, like fix me. But I was open to the feedback. And I think it's sad, right? When people just want to vent. And they don't want the perspective.
No, because they don't want to change.
Yeah, they don't want to change. But it's like, don't waste my time then. If you don't want to change.
Exactly.
But I knew what I was getting myself into. I didn't know that you were like this because I run away from people like you. Like, I run away from people. I did. But because I think I have a lot of, I don't want to say experience, but I think my husband's very much like that. So I think I was already exposed. So yes, it hurt my feelings. But you didn't hurt my feelings. My inner child was hurt at that moment because I want everything to be sugar coated and like look nice and pretty and like wrap it in like nice wrapping paper. But I knew that that's not what I needed. I needed that straightforward. And I was so appreciative. But I was really sad because I was like, okay, oh my gosh, she gave me this amazing gift. And now I need to go home and process all of this. And I made a story on Instagram and I was like sharing it. And, I was like, this is such a gift. And I was like retrospect and, just thinking about everything you told me. But then it dawned to me, I'm like, she's not going to ever want to see me again. I thought I was like, I blew my chance at having a good, conscious friend. And I blew my chance. And I was so sad. I was more sad about losing the potential friendship that we didn't even get to build than what you told me.
Really?
I was so sad. I was so devastated. I was like, you got one chance, one freaking chance, and you freaking blew it. Like, that was what I was telling myself.
Oh gosh.
So I was sitting with that, and then I was sitting with what you had told me about, okay, so you're doing the life coaching and you're doing this. Why don't you trust? Why are you still in survival mode? And I'm like, good question. I don't know. Like, why am I in survival mode? Like, I couldn't answer that question. I think I've asked myself questions, and because I have a lot of blind spots, I don't get to answer a lot of those. But you asked that question, look dead, like you looked me dead in the eye. You asked a question, very compassionate, very loving. But you were like serious. Like, this is serious business. Like, what's up, girl? Like, why aren't you trusting? I want to believe that you saw potential in me. That's why you said it. I don't know.
No, I think there's potential in everyone. But you can also tell when someone does want to change desperately and when people don't want to change desperately.
Which one was I?
You wanted to change.
Yeah.
I could tell. And that's why I reached out. I reached out to you because I knew that the stuff that I had said was like, it was big. It was impactful.
It was.
So I wanted to check up on you because maybe you were not ready to receive that info. And I wanted to show the support and just, let you know that it's okay. Like, we all have different perspectives. But also wanted to see, in general, like, how you're doing, what's up. Reached out.
No, I didn't reach out because I didn't know how to. Like, usually when...
I thought I had hella hurt your feelings.
No. I didn't know how to come back and be like, thanks for the gift. Like, I didn't know because I didn't know how impactful it was in my life. And I didn't know how to thank you for it without seeming like pushy or like, I don't know. Like, I didn't know if maybe you were, oh my God, I don't want that friend. Like, she's super unconscious. Like, I'm doing bigger and better things.
And
like,
you see how we do that a lot? We put thoughts, we reflect our belief of ourselves onto what other people are going to believe. Yeah. And we don't give the chance to other people to, like, really show up.
Yeah. Yeah, and I was so grateful when you showed up. I remember, like, I was putting things away and I saw your message and I was like, wow, the fact that you reached out, the fact that you took your time, knowing how busy you are, to just send me that message and like, hey, how are you doing? Like, how are you? And me to be able to tell you, like, no, girl, thank you. I needed that. Like, I want to see you again. Would you like to see me again? Like, I think that's what healthy relationships do, right? Like, one has to be the bigger person and reach out and be like, hey, I still want to hang out. And I think we're so hurt and we take things so personal. But I was ready to receive that feedback, and I knew that what you were giving me was so valuable because as soon as I did that paradigm shift, my reality at that moment changed and that situation changed.
Did you feel like when you started to come to that awareness, do you feel like things got a little worse before they got better?
No, but I think because it was already worse. Like, it
was at its point?
Because I had the awareness of it. It wasn't like, oh, wow, the awareness. No, I had the awareness when I went to see you. You were just like the reminder. Like, girl, everybody sees it and you don't see it. So as soon as I decided to shift my perspective, everything changed. I relaxed. I went and took care of whatever I needed to take care of. And everything turned out in my favor.
You said something really important right now. You said when I chose. And that's really, really big because there's people that can go through hundreds of self-books, hundreds of binge hours on self-help topics, but they never make the decision to change.
That was me for 15 years.
They never know how to make that. What does it look like? What does it mean? And how is that going to look moving forward?
Okay, so that takes me to the other thing that I loved about you. I love about you that you're able to, and I've told you this, right? That you're able to look at something and break it down in ways that people like me can understand it. Because I'm an overthinker and I like to look into it more. But I think when you have this mind, like, and I always say privileged mind like yours, you're able to take it and then break it down steps and pieces and create what you've created?
I did that because I needed it. I did that because I have done a lot of research. Okay, so for me, my personal growth started when I was 23.
Okay.
I wanted to be a mature woman. That's what I would say. And I didn't know what it meant. And I would tell my sister, I don't know what it means. I just know how it feels. So I started going by feeling. And I wasn't in good relationships. It was pretty toxic. I've always had toxic relationships.
Times 2.
Yeah. And I just wanted different. I wanted different for myself. I've always considered myself to be very assertive, but looking back in the day, I was just on defense mode. So there's a lot of people that consider themselves like they're bad bees, but are they really, or are they just defensive? And that's now is that just their personality? So it's like a lot of things that I like to question. I love human behavior.
Me too.
I love to know how the mind works, and I like to break it down.
Love it.
So I didn't know about attachments. The first book that I made was about becoming her. It was all like around law of attraction.
Yes.
And then I understood law of vibration. And then I found out that there's 12 laws. And everything resonated, and everything, I started picking up everything and breaking down stuff because I needed it. And then eventually I came across attachment styles. And that, honestly, like that's what really, really rattled my world. That's when I started to understand my patterns. But I didn't know how to change them. I just knew how they worked and why they were formed.
And I think that's like the majority of people that are listening to us.
Yeah.
I mean, okay, you read these books and they're great. Don't take me wrong, they're great. But they don't tell you.
No.
They don't give you examples. And I don't know how you learn, but I need to see examples. I need to see what it looks like. I need that because I don't know how to process all this. And then you'll lie to yourself and you're like, that's not me. That's other people, right? But the way that you break it down, it's so simple. It's so amazing. It's so user-friendly.
That's the goal for me when I do something. Like, there's a lot of intention behind it.
Yeah.
And I do things purposely. So if you ever see something on my videos, or you're like, oh, wait, that's me, I'm doing it purposely so that it can reach a specific audience. And I always say when I post, I'm like, please let this reach the people that it's supposed to reach. Only if it's 10, that's great. If it gets to 1 million, amazing.
I know, you told me that.
But for me, it's like, first, am I confident about this? Yes. Do I stand by it? Yes. Do I like it? Yes. Let's put it out. Whatever happens, happens. The fact that I like it and I approve and I validate it, it's good enough.
Yeah.
And it took a while to get there, though.
And okay, so then when did you start your page?
I started my page November of 2021.
Okay. Ooh, my birthday month, girl. That's the perfect month. Continue.
I started November 2021 because I was in a relationship where my self-esteem had gone down.
Okay.
And that's not to talk bad about my partner.
No.
Because we both triggered each other. So we both had the same fault. But his actions would trigger me. And because I was in such survival mode, I had just, I left LA, I left my job, had a daughter, we had just moved in again for like the 3rd time. Like, it was just so much going on that I lost total like identity of me.
I've been there.
So my goal when I started, I started reading the book Supernatural. So I already knew about manifestation because I started, so cliche, with the book The Secret.
The Secret, me too. That's I think
how I started.
That's how everybody starts, I think.
And then after that, it just started coming to me.
Yeah.
Well, I started attracting it or whatnot. So when it happened, I was money hungry. I'm not gonna lie. I was in total survival mode, and survival mode is a lack of safety. Money is, in a way, safety. Right? So I needed it. I thought I needed it. So I was just doing content just to get validated as well, because I wasn't validating myself.
Okay.
Then I did this video, and it was about becoming her. So simple, and it got to 5 million views.
I love it.
And from there, I was like, okay, well, let me make this an actual journal. So I made my first journal. And over the weekend, I sold 7K.
That's amazing.
It was mind-blowing to me. But then I came to the belief that I can't do this again.
Ugh,
and then it's like an inner battle that you have with yourself, like, well, no, if I did it once, then I can do it again. But no, what if it was just a one-time thing? So it happened, and then on top of my relationship, things were going not the best. So I was doing content, and I was doing well, but I didn't feel confident enough to stand by what I was saying because I wasn't living it. So I felt like I was being fake.
It's like this disconnect, right?
There you go.
Like my words are not congruent with my actions, so I'm over here. And I think that's a lot of social media content creators out there. I'm not saying that all, but I think most, right? Yeah. And so I think people, and they can tell. People can tell.
Yeah.
And the fact that you were super aware, it's like...
Yeah. So then moving forward, we decided to split. And every time I split, I felt the most confident because I felt like I was really standing by what I was saying. Doesn't mean it didn't hurt, like the relationship breakup, like it still hurts, but I choose me.
I choose me.
I choose me.
We were talking about that today. I choose me.
And although it hurts, I still choose me because it's either I hurt over the relationship not happening, or I hurt while I'm in the relationship wishing it wasn't. So I choose me.
And that's so powerful. How many of us, even people that are listening to us right now, that want to choose themselves, don't know how to choose themselves.
Because it's hard.
It's hard. We were talking about it today before recording this.
It's a moment or like a couple of years of purging.
Girl, I think I'm almost done with my purging. I think I'm almost on the other side. But yeah, you have to purge the old.
Because you need to make room for the new, and that's actually a law of the universe too. You have to, in order to make room for something, you have to let go of something else.
Yeah.
It's kind of like energy is never destroyed or created. Energy, all the energy that is already exists. It can only change form.
Wow. I love that. And I think that, I don't think I know that was the reason why we met.
Yeah.
The medicine that you brought into my life was a medicine of awareness, of telling me, like, you need to trust and you need to get out of survival mode. Because, thank you for sharing about making $7,000 in one day or one weekend. Because I have never made more than $40,000 a year. And after we had this conversation, even before applying to any jobs, I already knew my worth. I already knew how much I wanted to make. And now we're having a conversation about doubling that, right? And how I can create that without living in survival mode. Yeah. And it's thanks to your workbooks and me understanding them. Because before, I've read all the books that you have talked about. I've read them all. Did I understand them? That's another question. Because I didn't. Because I thought I was another style of attachment, which I was not. And, the wounds, my inner child. And then we had a conversation today or right now. Because I was super excited to know that your workbooks are now in Spanish.
Yeah.
Okay. Which is big. It's huge. And I told you, I don't know why, but when you posted that video, it made more sense. I've seen your content. I've read your workbook. I've done the workbook. But when you explained it in Spanish, it was like my inner child finally got it. So my inner child, for sure, just speaks Spanish.
And that's something so interesting that you say, because I've never thought about it. But it's true, like your mother language, your native language. And I'm like, whoa. Yeah. That totally blew my mind today. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Thank you.
I contribute something to my friend today. Yeah. So I felt like, and I told you last time we met, I really hope you do it in Spanish. And you're like, girl, I'm already working on it. And I'm like, yay! I'm so excited because there's so many people that need it. They need this content. They need it to break it down. I've shared with you how powerful it has been for me to be able to do this workbook.
Well, this is what the workbook provides for all of you guys that are listening. There's a specific workbook that's called Reality Shift. In that workbook, I talk about how attachment, self-concept, and survival mode all have to balance for you to make some type of change in your life. You have to start off by understanding what your self-concept is. What do you think about yourself? Then attachment styles. How were you raised, and how is that affecting and representing now?
Let's talk about the first part first, about the belief of who you are, right? Mm-hmm. So I had a conversation on Instagram about this because these are all the ideas that I bought into. I bought into the idea that money didn't come easy to me, that I had to work really, really hard for it, right? Mm-hmm. That I was a really bad test taker, and that I couldn't learn new concepts fast enough. And when I no longer bought into that idea and had a complete reality shift of like, wait a minute, I learned things fast. I did it with my car seat training last week, and I got 100%. And it wasn't hard at all. Exactly. It was super easy. I just had to pay attention. Everything was great. Like all these ideas that I bought into because somebody must have told me when I was young, or somebody made a comment, or I probably, I don't know, did really bad on a test once, and somebody reinforced that idea and like planted that seed. Mm-hmm. So first you have to be conscious about what you're buying into. Like what reality have you created or people have created for you? And then the other one was?
Attachments.
Okay.
How you were raised.
Okay.
So the way that your parents raised you is pretty much how you're going to be or what you're going to look for in romantic partners. That's why friendships can be a little different.
Okay.
But romantic partners, you're going to reflect either your mother or your father or a little bit of both.
Of both. And that was powerful because I, share with you about, my 10-year relationship and how that dynamic, and now with my husband. So it's so true, but when you can know about the concept.
Yeah, but you don't know how to apply it.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. And today, I'm going to get a little personal, and it's about me, so it's good. I'm super open to sharing. I was sharing with you about he had this big issue with me not passing gas. And I know it sounds the silliest. Mm-hmm. I know. Mm-hmm. Super silly. And I was like, why is he so bothered by the fact that I don't want to pass gas? Like, I'm embarrassed. And grant you, like, mind you, we've been married for 5 years, and I'm not able to do that. Uh-huh. What did you tell me?
That he's just seeking a bond with you. He
wants
like, you to be comfortable with him.
I know, what the heck is just gas? And you guys, she was super calm. She looked, again, the eye. She looked at me straight in the eye, and she was like, you were gaslighting him. Oh, because I told you no.
That was the phone.
Oh, uh-huh. Oh, okay, yeah. Because I was like, no, that's not like, I'm not gaslighting him about,
Yeah, like, and I'm like, no, you are, because at the same time, you're hiding something, like, mm-hmm. You're hiding your phone, you're hiding the fart, whatever. Whatever it is. And then he's asking you, and you're saying, no, I don't have to, when low-key, you probably do.
Oh, yeah, because he makes that comment, because sometimes, like, my stomach would always hurt.
Yeah. That was
yeah. And then I'm like, oh, my stomach hurts, and he's like, you probably just need to pass gas. And I'm like, no, I don't. And then you were like, you're totally gaslighting because you do. And it's true, but it's like this embarrassment and not being able to be open and vulnerable and like super transparent with him.
And is it only with the people that you love, the people that you care what they think about you?
Yes. Because I love him so much that it's almost like I want him to
think you're perfect?
Yes. Yes.
Because you thought you had to be perfect for your parents.
For my parents. Yeah. And so the fact when he's like, oh, you have this and you have that, and I'm like, oh my God, I'm not perfect. Oh my God.
He's putting out your insecurities.
Yes. But he's not doing it at least I don't see it in a bad way. But in my mind, it's like, but if I'm not perfect, you're not going to love me. Mm-hmm. And I need you to love me. Mm-hmm. Right? And he would make fun of me. He makes fun of me all the time. And, not in a bad way, but he's like, just be comfortable, like, it's okay, like, but I don't feel like it's okay. In my mind, it's like, it's because if I don't look perfect and I am perfect for you, you're just going to run off to somebody that is perfect. Super insecure of me, of course.
Yeah, because perfect changes based on a person's definition.
And I think in his mind, I'm perfect, right?
Yeah.
And I think that's why he's with me, because if not, he wouldn't be with me, right? But the fact that I am the one that's sabotaging my own relationship with myself and with him, and lying to myself and trying to lie to him, where he can totally read me. Yeah. Like, he can tell I'm in pain because that gas needs to come out, and I'm not letting it out.
You're not.
And I think that he still feels like there's a lot of other things that I haven't let out, that I haven't been my true self with, because I'm afraid. What if he knows?
But it's also kind of like a conversation you guys have to have, and letting him know, like, hey, I do want to open up, but I need a safe space, and a safe space for me looks like this and feels like this.
But most people don't know what a safe space looks like. I didn't know what a safe space looked like for me.
And that's kind of where the communication needs to happen. And you don't always have to know the answer. And you can let him know, I don't feel safe. Why? I don't know, and I really don't know what that looks like. So just bear with me while I figure it out.
Well, I'll figure it out. And I think what I do is I shut down. Yeah. And I don't talk, which I love to do. I love to talk and conversate. I think that's why I fell in love with him, because he talks and I talk, and we both talk, and we, jump off ideas, and it's just amazing. But as soon as it gets too real, I get small, I contract, and I shut down, and then my eyes go blank.
But this is the thing too. Because you're not being real with him means that you're not being real with you, so you don't really know yourself authentically. So how do you know if he's really the one for you? Because you don't even know who you really are. And that's why I asked you earlier, what are the things that you love about yourself? Because the man that I'm going to be with next, I want him to love the things I love about myself. He needs to see value in the things that I see value. Because I don't want someone to tolerate the things that I love.
You want someone to love it.
Yeah.
You also asked me, what do I bring
to the table?
To the table.
Yeah. And before your answer, we move on.
Yeah.
I think that a lot of us don't know what our worth is, or what is it? Like, what brings me value? What do I bring to the table? And I know that on TikTok, a lot of people say, well, the whole damn table. Okay, great. But what does it really mean? What is it? Yeah. And I struggled with that for many, many, many years. And I feel like that's something that I've been able to acknowledge without having people to validate it. Yeah. And that started by me first validating little things from, like, oh, I like the shoes I'm going to wear, so I'm going to wear them. Like, I'm not going to ask anyone if they look good or not. I'm not going to ask anyone if what I'm going to do is the best option or not. I became a risk taker because I was willing to go through the consequences, whether they were good or bad. Because I'm like, you know what, at this point, I've already proved to myself many times that I got myself. So why not just go for it?
And thank you for sharing that, because in my mind, because I couldn't answer that question, I felt like, oh my God, like, I don't know. But you brought a huge point. It's like, I've saved myself many times. Yeah. I've taken risks. I've done so many things, but I just wasn't aware of it. And I never needed any validation. I did whatever the heck I wanted, and I took the consequences full force, full throttle, every time, all the time. Starting when I moved to California at age 17, whether I had to eat or not, whether I had a job or not, or whether I was going through tough times or not, I stuck through it because that was a decision that I made at 17. So I've been this person for so many years. I just didn't have the awareness that I was that person.
Yeah, you were already the person that was saving yourself, and you're waiting for someone to come save you.
But I was saving myself all along. Yeah, and when you said that, I was like, but I need someone. And I've never liked to be like the damsel in distress. I actually don't like that at all. I can take care of my own goddamn self. But it feels nice to allow somebody to help you and support you. And that also doesn't mean that you're not the go-getter.
No, it doesn't. It just means that you learned how to receive. Exactly. And this is something else that why I'm so big on you have to get out of survival mode, because unless you're out of survival mode, you cannot develop the feminine side energy of you. And it's not like the womanly femininity. No, it's feminine energy, which allows you to receive things. It allows for you to understand love. Yeah. It allows you to be at peace. Yeah. And then your masculine energy obviously is the one that does like the work or the heavy lifting or whatnot. But energies are genderless. Everyone has masculine and feminine. Yeah. A lot of us here in the States, we're in our masculine. Why? Because we're mostly a work country.
Yeah. And I think also the fact that we're first gen.
On top of that.
And, I mean, I am the eldest daughter.
Which I shared with you, the therapist. Yeah. I started therapy too, because there's things that don't click for me either. I know when I have all the information, but that doesn't mean that I understand and process it either.
Exactly.
Or apply it to me.
Yeah.
And this is why therapists or outside perspectives are so important.
So important.
They're huge. They're huge. They're impactful.
Yeah, I mean, I'm such a big advocate of, yes, buy the workbook, yes, read the book, but that doesn't mean that you can cut the corner and not reach out to either a therapist or a holistic coach or whoever you choose to work with. And please be a person that is aligned with you and what your values. Your values.
That's why you need to know what your values are.
Exactly. Most people don't know.
No.
And I think it's important to ask yourself, what are your values? Because if not, you're gonna be jumping. Now you're not going to be jumping from one relationship to the next. You're going to be jumping from one therapist to the next.
Exactly, because none of them are telling you what you want to hear. So you also need to understand that you're going to hear, if you're not ready to hear things that you do not want to hear, then just don't do it. Because then it's going to be a lot more worse for you mentally.
Don't fight it.
Yeah,
just don't fight it.
Don't fight it. If you're ready to start your healing process, go for it. But you have to be open to receive. And you really have to become a student.
Oof.
You have to become a student.
Yes.
And you have to let go of the ego.
There's no room for arrogance. There's no room for I know more because I've read more books or I've gone through this and you don't know my story. No. It's about surrendering and accepting.
Yep.
Because there is medicine. If that person is telling you, it's for a reason. And just trust. Don't read too much into it. Things are as they are for a reason. You meet people for a reason. Things are brought to your vicinity or to your proximity for you to, like, either you get it or you don't get it. You said at the beginning, I'm going to give you the gift, whether you take it or not. That's totally you. I think it's the same thing with any concept, with anything, right? But then you can't complain that things don't get better because you're choosing to continue to be there.
Yeah.
For as long as you continue to have that mentality.
So at that point, you either make peace with the fact that this is what you want.
Yeah.
Or you make peace with the fact that it's not what you want and you're going to change it. But you cannot be back and forth.
You can't. And I was back and forth for many years. Until I was like, you know what? I want to be in this toxic relationship because it suits its purpose, whatever it is that I was getting benefit from. Mm-hmm. I didn't want to grow. Mm-hmm. But as soon as you get tired of holding on to that baggage, then you let it go. But it's your choice at the end of the day because I'm not going to make that choice for you. The book's not going to make the choice for you. Nobody can. Not even the best therapist in the world can.
No.
And so I think that's so important that you mention it.
Yeah.
About the therapist.
So she said about the first gen.
Okay.
She told me that me showing up and me adult, I'm very assertive and confident and open-minded. Mm-hmm. When we did the EMDR therapy, she said you're very submissive to figures of authority. And that's something that I have always conflicted because I'm like, wait, why do I like I've always had it in, like, identity crisis, you could say, or I don't know how to call it. But I've always questioned, like, why do I feel like I'm so assertive and confident, but then there's times where it's just, like, nowhere to be. And it's because when I am in a position where there's someone above me with authority, I become submissive. Because that's how I've been, like, trained or conditioned, that if it's authority, a parent, then I become very submissive.
It's crazy. Yeah. It's crazy that you say that because I'm completely opposite. With the figures of authority, I'm very, like, I push, and I challenge and I question and.
But do you end up doing what they asked for you to do?
Most of the time, no.
Are you sure?
Well, we were talking about this earlier.
That's what I'm asking.
Yeah.
Are you sure?
Well, for that, yes. But when it comes to my parents, like, when I came to LA at 17, my dad's like, "You're not going," and I was like, I'm packed.
Okay.
I'm leaving. Like, thanks for your advice, but I'm still leaving.
Okay, yeah.
And if I would have been submissive, I would have stayed because he would hit me and he would, he could have told me, but I was already in, like, no, like, I've made my mind.
No, and you see, I thought I was rebellious because I would talk back, but at the end of the day,
I would stay.
I would do what they asked for me to do.
Yeah, no,
I didn't. And that totally clicked. And that's why, like I say, going to a therapist is very important because although I had I know the concepts, I don't really know how to apply them to me. And because I am my own brain, I cannot trust it.
Exactly.
This is what we're trying to fix. We're trying to fix my brain. Like, it's not going to self-heal.
Yeah.
So you have to seek those outside perspectives to shift the neurons and, like, connections and everything. This is why. So, because we're almost ending.
Yeah. There's
this part of your brain that's also in the reality shift that I talk. It's called reticular activated system. Okay? What this does, this is the main part of your brain that receives all information.
Okay.
What you see, what you hear, what you smell, what you touch, what you taste goes through there.
Yeah.
Your RAS is going to filter the things that are very important to you.
Okay.
Whether they're good or bad, it's going to filter it out. So, if you believe that the world is against you, you're going to see problems everywhere. Because your brain or your RAS is programmed to point out all the things that prove that the world is against you. Yeah. And it's going to neglect and disregard all the good things that happen to you. And when you're in autopilot, when you're unaware, this is a cycle. And this is people that are very unhappy or are always on survival mode. When you are aware of that, you're able to reparent yourself or retrain, reprogram that RAS to start focusing on the good things.
I love it.
And you're going to come through a period where you're seeing the good and bad and you're like, oh my God, he just did that to me. Wait, but it's not such a big deal. Like, or like, but he also does this. He also goes out. He also is very like calm or patient with me. So you start seeing people differently. Yeah. It doesn't mean that you allow other people to take advantage of you, but it means that you're able to now see the value that other people bring to you. Yes. But you first need to learn how to see it, how to program your RAS to see the value that you bring, so that then you can start appreciating people for the value that they bring.
What a powerful way to end the podcast about that RAS that we talked about.
It's huge.
It's so big. And I think that with that, a few days ago, I decided that even if I go through like a little thing that is amazing in my life, I will say, qué bonita vida me tocó. Like, what an amazing life I get to live. If I jump in my car and I go to work, if I have my favorite protein shake, if I have, if I had, like today, qué bonita vida me tocó. Like, what an amazing life I get to live every single day with every single thing. And, just believing it because of that RAS. Yeah. Now I'm going to continue to attract all these amazing opportunities and all these amazing friendships and money flowing, and because you're in that mode.
You've trained your brain to see that. Yeah. But first, you have to get out of survival mode because your brain thinks different. Believe it or not, you guys, scientifically, it's proven your brain will think and use different parts of the brain to keep you safe. Whether it's good or bad environment, that does not matter. The goal is to keep you alive. Yeah. And that's when you guys are in survival mode, it's called that you're in your I think it's called the animalistic brain or something like that. Yeah. So it's kind of like you haven't really touched onto your human power, you could say.
You're still being
yeah. So you have to get out of survival mode. You have to practice it. It takes time to do so, but it's possible.
It is.
And then once you're out of survival, things just flow. Oof. It's just things just calm, you guys.
Yeah. Like, and fast.
Like, hell yeah.
Super fast.
I'm not in the same place I was 6 months ago or 3 years ago. And I know that I'm never going to be back in that spot. Yeah. Because even when, like, things break for me, I take it as, like, oh, things are about to get hella big for me. So let's just focus on getting this fixed so that the good things can start coming in.
Oh, yeah, for sure. And I think that after our conversation, the first conversation we had, and things have happened that have been really, quote unquote devastating. I continue, I do what we talk about, and things just, I trust that the universe has my back. I trust that things are going to get better, and I trust that something bigger, better, and more amazing is coming my way.
Yes.
And how amazing is that? And thank you for the light you bring into this world, for just breaking things down so beautifully, for creating this workbook for people like me. For people like you, thank you. Yeah, like for people like us, because we figured out that we have a lot of things in common, more than we would think. Every time we talk, it's like, oh my God, me too, girl. So, tell everybody where they can find you?
You guys can find me on TikTok and Instagram. My handle is TheANABANUELOS. And I do sell workbooks if you guys are interested. These workbooks are designed to help you understand the concepts, become aware of them, and help you initiate your awakening your awareness.
Oh, thank you so much. I can't wait to have mine in Spanish.
Yes.
Because I already have them all, you guys. I have all 4 of them. So please give her a follow on TikTok, on Instagram, and support. Because women like her need to be everywhere. They need to be known, seen, heard, and shared about everywhere. I think that's one of the things you asked me earlier. What do I love about myself? Is that I'm not envious, and I like everybody to know.
That's good.
You know that I want to share. So there's a lot of more things, you guys. So behind the scenes that we talk about, but
a lot.
that remind me of yes, I am a good friend because I share about my friends and all the amazing things that they're doing, and there's no competition because at least I know that I have other things that I bring to the table, right? That are just as amazing, but they're different. Right?
Yeah.
And I get to have, I always say, I get to have amazing friends in my life. I get to have these amazing, cool people. And I'm very blessed to have people like you in my life. So thank you. Thank you.
Girl.
Please follow her. And thank you for listening to us. And I hope there's more episodes of us talking because these are
they're nice.
They're very nice. I didn't think I was doing a good job, but I think we did great. I think I did great as a host. So watch us again or listen to us again. Maybe we'll record a YouTube live.
Let us know.
Let us know if you like this episode. So thank you guys. See you soon.